there are stories that I will hear on the news, and I can barely contain myself, the anger I feel.
Sometimes the world feels like it's on fire. There are hurts and needs in our neighborhoods and globally, but how as lives change do we begin to respond or decide to take action? In this episode, we talk about showing compassion in our modern world, and it starts right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Live Change podcast. I'm joined by my friend Jason Mitchell.
Howdy.
And I'm joined by Joanna Wisher, my co-host on the podcast.
Hello.
And my name is Chad Herman, and today we're talking about activism and apathy. But before we do that, I got a treat. I was at a gas station, and I saw a yummy new treat. It is M&Ms, but they aren't just any M&Ms. They are key lime pie M&Ms.
I love key lime pie.
Get out of my
Do y'all
head.
like key lime
I
pie?
do not
Key
like
lime
key
pie's
lime
still-
pie.
You don't? Joanna, you're very picky.
Yes.
I am not picky.
You
I
didn't
am
like
particular.
you didn't like boiled peanuts.
Yeah.
I think
You don't like key lime pie. These are two things that everyone loves,
Everyone.
except
I
you.
do not think everyone loves boiled peanuts.
I think you're less adventurous because, as we know, adventure means you try peanuts and key lime M&Ms.
All right.
Hey, wait
So-
a second. So you said you're particular. So
Yeah.
would you be finicky with food? Are you being serious? Like is that a thing you're known for?
I'm not picky. Yeah, I'm just particular. Like I like a lot of foods. I just like them a certain way. So like I'm the annoying person when everyone's like going around the table and like placing your order. And it's like, oh, I would like this, but could you do this to
yeah.
it? And could you do a little bit of that and take away that?
Every server that's listening to this podcast right now is like, oh, it's her.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I get it.
So we're going to try the key lime. So I'm going to,
Ooh.
Oh, whoa.
they just poured out there. So I'm going to scooch some
you
over.
really
You're going to
like
want
it.
more
Dude,
than
don't
one.
hand them to me.
Oh. Here,
I
let
don't
me
need
get
your
this.
fingerprints.
Do you want me
on
to
them.
feed
Oh,
it
my
to you?
word. You guys are so weird.
That's taking food from another man's hands is not weird, Joanna.
It's true.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's not weird.
It's a cardinal. Yeah,
No,
you
no,
don't do
you're
that. You don't do that.
You don't do
Okay.
that?
Do you? Do you like feed your friends?
No, you weren't going to feed him. You were just going to put them in his hand.
Yeah, but his fingerprints are on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's like a germ thing.
Yeah.
It is a germ thing.
And I
don't-
get it.
don't-
I was
I
like,
don't really.
I totally appreciate that.
you don't
Okay.
care.
I don't.
No, she is not a germaphobe.
So you're particular about your food, but you'll eat something right off the floor.
Doggone
Okay,
it.
those are two different things.
No, you want to know? I travel with Joanna sometimes. Like we're on teams together at LCBC.
Mm-hmm.
I have traveled with this woman. Let me tell
This
you.
woman. You're about
so-
to have strong feelings.
Oh, I have some strong feelings about this. I am a 10th level germaphobe. Like, if there was levels, I'm like up here. I'm pretty strong germaphobe. I travel with Clorox wipes.
Yeah, that's
and like
that's
backup
intense.
Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some for the hotel room because, that TV remote.
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm not touching that.
I
Okay.
never, yeah.
You ever seen those shows that bring black lights into those hotel rooms?
I watch those like they're horror movies.
You would not want to stay in one.
They literally keep me
I'm
up at
only
night.
laughing because I know that this really is a big deal for you, but you've had so much growth.
I have. I caution tape around me as a
Yeah.
human. So I've traveled with Joanna though, and she is not a germaphobe at all. And she's like my coping mechanism because I watch her live her life, and I'm like, if she's still alive,
That's probably helpful.
that like,
Then
there's-
I'll be
She's not
fine.
dead.
like,
yeah.
because I watched her, she wears like flip flops to the airport.
Okay, they're like mules. Like they're just
Mule.
they're
Mules?
just like backless shoes.
You were
that
riding a
wouldn't wear-
mule?
that you wouldn't wear socks with.
Okay.
Okay.
Not just like flip flops.
So, but
Yeah, get it right.
Come on.
regardless, you were barefoot. So she's just walking around.
Oh, because you had to take them off for the thing,
Yes.
and then Joanna.
Chad didn't like that.
She's just walking barefoot. I mean,
Guys, and guess what? I'm still here to tell the tale.
do you see what I mean?
Joanna.
I
need to talk.
I at least
can't do
chased
that.
her down and made
Airports are nasty.
Yes.
You don't want to be walking. Do you walk barefoot through a grocery store?
Yeah, I probably would.
She
I
would.
I wouldn't think twice
She
about it.
would.
Like it doesn't matter. I'm frustrated that you have to wear shoes. Like if I could just ask Kevin, I am barefoot
Okay.
All the time.
all the time.
If you are like Joanna and you believe shoes are a societal construct that needs to be eliminated,
I didn't say. I'm
leave a
just saying,
comment.
Like the no shoes, no shirt signs. Like there's just something about me
You just
that it's
wanna
just
rip
like,
'em down.
oh, I just want to walk into this store with no shoes on.
Wow.
That's your
So,
rebellious spirit.
I had to chase her down just to give her some Purell because I knew she was like, touching
You
all
didn't
this
chase
stuff.
me down to give me Purell. You basically sprayed me with like Microban.
Because I knew we were heading to lunch and, with our team.
Get out of here.
Well, she's
and
not
I'm
gonna
like-
eat with her feet.
I just wanted to
Thank
make sure
you.
that the handsies were clean. So we are going.
These are melting in my hand, by the way.
These are, if you can't see, these are M&Ms. They're green and white and dark green, and they're key lime, and we're going to try them. So
Do they all taste the same?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. So here we go. Oh my gosh, I love them. They are so good. What?
I could do without.
No.
Kind of weird.
No. Okay. To be fair,
Oh.
I'm on a diet and I haven't had anything sweet in like 6 months, so these taste like manna.
So it's
Yeah.
that's sad. I'm sorry that this is what you chose to take.
Worth it. Hashtag
White.
worth it.
So it's white chocolate
Mm-hmm.
with then a hint of key lime pie.
Yeah, that's a good description. That's a very good description.
I read it right off the bag.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Those are
saying
good.
like they did a good job. Like that doesn't taste real limey. I just had a mint before I did that.
Oh, that
though.
could have messed it up.
Here, I'm
I
just
think-
going
I
to eat
don't
one
really-
of these too. These are more common. These are fudge brownie. You ever try these?
Fudge. No.
Now those
Yeah.
are good. I've had these.
No, just dig your hands in there.
Oh, my word, you guys.
These are actually good. Fudge brownie M&Ms. Those are good.
Yeah. Why'd you bring these?
Well, I wanted to talk about what's your favorite candy. So, what's your favorite candy or food? Like, what is one food that you would eat the rest of your life?
French fries and pizza.
Wow, that was quick.
Period. End of story. French fries and pizza.
I'm sure
Oh,
you're plain.
Wait. But
I
who
thought
has
you're picky.
who has the best French fries and pizza?
Oh, I love bowling alley French fries.
Oh my! Nothing surprises me about that response. I like to eat bowling
Guys, they're so
alley
good.
French fries
Where
with my
where
feet.
Hot.
shoes are shared.
Yeah. Those are my people. They make my fries.
After you've just inserted said finger
Guys,
into bowling
sometimes-
balls,
Well, yeah.
you probably eat the fries out of the bowling ball holes.
Guys, sometimes I forget to take socks to the bowling alley.
Do you fill
Now,
up
how
the
does
bowling ball?
that
No, you're messing with me. You're messing with me right now.
No, that's true. But I know it's also messing with you, so I'm sorry.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, French fries and pizza.
Oh my gosh.
I've learned
I feel uncomfortable even in the same room with you right now.
breathing the same air.
Jason, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food?
Or the food you would eat, if you could have one food that you would
Steak.
just eat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is red-blooded American right there.
Now, see, I love when steak goes with fries.
Okay.
I love that too. I like if I make a steak and then potatoes and all that,
Mhm.
I'll take the steak out and then I'll put all the potatoes after I cook them in all that steak grease.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay. Today we're going to talk about activism and how do we care for the people that are in our local community? How do we care for the people in our family, our church, but also our global community? What is God's expectation with that? And what are the pitfalls and pratfalls of that? Now, there is a word that I'm going to use that I think has permeated injustice, charity, serving, generosity, and it's cynicism. The word is cynicism. And I think one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of people is that there has been some phonies. There has been some people have been hurt or there's been some ulterior motives or there's been some really shady stuff that's been done in the name of goodness. And
like what? Like
so a good example is so maybe someone's given to a GoFundMe page and it turned out it was a giant fraud.
Okay.
So maybe you look at a person that's like asking for money, asking for a handout, and you're like, I want to give you money, but you're just going to go buy drugs.
Yeah.
Or that person that's there's a charitable thing to give housing to a person, and you think to yourself, I had to get a job to get my house.
Yeah.
Get your own job. And there's this cynicism that has permeated, and it cripples the heart of the servant. So, what is the answer to that? Or am I making that up?
Well, and what's the difference? Where's the line between wisdom and cynicism?
Totally.
'Cause sometimes it may be wise. I've got kids, and there's times where I withhold, not because I'm being cynical or cold, but because I know this will grow them, and they do need the dignity of work, or So
Sure.
like that's a simple example with how it works with kids. So I think that's wise. So I mean, there's that fuzzy line between sometimes wisdom and cynicism. And churches, throw that in there too. I mean, how many churches have gotten people rallied around, and then there was stuff going on, and all of a sudden people are like, dude, not giving to a church again or ministry again or whatever.
No, totally.
And I think some of the things you were just with wisdom, sometimes I think also like we have to do research, or like sometimes I think you also have to wade into, if those are concerns that you have, then I would also say, just make sure you're being wise about how you're giving or where you're giving, or if you're researching or things like that too, to make sure that you are partnering with trusted partners, or, I don't know, honestly, like I feel like that's one of the things we do a lot at LCBC even is like we look at folks within our communities who are making awesome differences. And instead of us trying to reinvent the wheel, we just figure out how can we unleash generosity on these partners to help them go further faster.
But it's interesting you say that because we vet all of those organizations.
Totally.
To the point where we look into their financials. We look at that's part of good stewardship too, is knowing that you're supporting places and giving to places and serving places. I mean, we're talking kind of at a organizational level.
So you're saying is, I guess there is an answer that is in the middle. So there's the blindly giving, the blindly serving, the blindly chasing each initiative or charitable thing. And then the other extreme is cynicism, where it's like, oh, it's all just a fraud, and I'm not giving anymore, and I've been burnt. And then there's something in the middle where it's like wisdom, which with all things, it's exhausting, guys. I'm just being honest. It's exhausting to vet every person you want to put change in the jar for.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's exhausting for people to. It's like it's tiring to have to do that. And I just have empathy for those that have had cynicism, where it's like, I'm just tired of being taken advantage of.
Well, the other thing to remember is this. Jesus got taken advantage of. It's not the worst thing in the world to move on your compassion and it gets taken advantage of. There's worse things. Yeah. So Jesus put himself out there vulnerably, and no one said thank you. I mean, like it led to a cross. I think my bigger point is, I remember one time I was at our Mannheim campus, and I was walking out. We had our group I was about to meet with a small group of people that we were doing life with at the time. And as I was walking out, there was this family that was obviously distressed that walked into our church building. And I was like, hey, what's your names? Just started a conversation with them. Found out that they had driven or were driving like from North Dakota to try to get to some family. They're homeless. They had nothing, and they were completely out of gas, and they hadn't run out yet, but they basically had hardly anything left in the tank, and they had like $19 left, and so they were distraught. And they came they saw the church, and they came in. So I was like, okay, I'm about to go. The building was shutting down at that point. I'm about to go hang out with some other people, and why don't you follow me? Do you have enough gas it's like a mile and a half away? They said, yeah, we'll follow you. So they follow us to the home. I bring them in the place, like we bring them in and basically go, here's the story. And everybody in that group gave hundreds of dollars to them.
Wow.
To get them a hotel for that night, whatever they needed. That was how, because they're like, okay, well, we love Jesus. Jesus did this for us. So yeah, be blessed. They left. And one of the people in the group kind of jokingly, but said, hey, what if they were lying about all that? And someone else piped up and they're like, so what? Like if they were lying about it, so we just got moved. Like, is God going to be disappointed that we just gave
Love it.
$600? Like, So what if we got taken advantage of? Jesus did too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want to live, so there, you can be reckless with that, but I think sometimes it's like, sometimes that's the vulnerable spot that generous, serving living will put you in. It is vulnerable.
Yeah.
I
vulnerable.
love that. I love that because what the difference is, it's about the offering. So I think that our God
Not the effect.
is not asking for the ultimately the end result is in His hands.
Yeah.
He's just asking us to be faithful.
Would you open your hands with it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're responsible for the offering. He's responsible for the outcome.
Yeah.
And I think talk about freedom. There is freedom when we decide that we're not responsible for the outcome. That's when I can put the change in the jar and go, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay because I
did what you were asking me to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can give the $20 to the person, and if he buys a sandwich or he buys alcohol, that's not necessarily yours to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be the detective in that moment. Do what the Spirit leads you to do in that moment. Now, test like if the Spirit is like, yeah, no, this is probably not a great situation. Okay, then listen to that.
And I think sometimes you end up in spots where you actually know how to meet the need potentially better than the person who's asking for a need to be met.
Ooh.
So like a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to serve with high schoolers in Washington, D.C. And I remember kind of our host for the experience. One of the things she said to the students was like, hey, so one of our organizational values is when we see folks on the street, we intentionally choose not to give them change or dollars in your pocket or whatever. Instead, we provide them socks and granola bars or something like that. And the heartbeat behind that was like, hey, that is a way that we are still meeting a need that we believe is actually also helpful. And so like, I think sometimes too, like if you can get in a unique situation where you also understand more about the need, you might be meeting the need better than like at first blush, if you will.
Well, I love that. And that to me is thinking bigger than just about handing stuff out to people. That's about how do we as Christians lift up the dignity of others? How do we provide for their needs, not just make us feel good about we gave something? And I haven't remembered, I forgot about this. I haven't thought about this in years, but I remember there was a guy in a home we used to live in. There was a guy near us, and he was living at this home, but it wasn't his home. It was close to us, like our neighbor. And he lost his job. It was not a good situation. They needed money bad. And I remember going home and telling Jenny, I was like, I feel like we ought to give him some money. And then we started thinking about it, and we're like, oh, he's really good at detailing cars. So I went to him, I was like, can you detail my car? And I paid him a good amount of money for that. He jumped right on it. But there's two things that happened. He was so proud of the work he did, and he got money. And that was, sometimes it's like that. Maybe that's the difference between sometimes charity is like just getting, there's moments for that. Like you got to just triage something. Yeah. That's that gas couple. I think the couple that ran out of the gas, like you just got to they need a hotel room tonight. This was a little bit more in depth. This was like, no, there's ongoing sustainable, there's dignity I want to give this guy. We want to give this guy. So sometimes it's just thinking more broadly about how we give so that we're lifting up the person, that we're bringing dignity to an honor to their life, not just triaging something.
There's also a hero complex too, because it's like, in the end, sometimes we put ourselves in those situations and we feel a sense of superiority. And we have to also be careful that we're always checking that, because it's like everything we have is a gift from God.
Yeah.
And it's His to do with as He pleases. When does care become hurtful? So, Jason, you mentioned something previously about compassion fatigue, and I'm familiar with compassion fatigue. What happens when those people that give and give and give and give, and they give till they can give no more? what does that look like? Have you seen that in pastors and ministry? Have you seen compassion fatigue? And then I can share my own stuff.
Well, definitely. I think it's an epidemic, and I shouldn't say that. It's very common to see in doctors, social, anybody who has to be in field, nurses, healthcare, ministries, all that. It's a topic that's pretty comes up a lot. It's pretty relevant. Anything that you're giving out of yourself for the good to care for another person and when they are in need. So I just think it's important to remember, what's crazy? Jesus, I don't know if we've talked about this or not, but Jesus didn't meet every need.
Mhm.
He didn't meet every single need when he was here.
Wow, go
which
on.
is, well, it's kind of weird to say, but in the Gospels, there's moments like Luke 4 where, there's a line of people to be healed and he ends up the next day leaving. And I think we've talked about that. He leaves some of them behind. He didn't meet, and he says, I must go on to the next town, but he goes to rest. So you've got Jesus. I think if anybody would have gotten compassion fatigue, it would have been him, because how much he was pouring out for people. And yet he finds this breathe in, breathe out sort of rhythm. He's giving. He's distancing himself from all the needs to refuel. And he's giving, distancing himself.
Okay.
So
what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't listen to that cadence? What happens if you give and give and give and give? What's the ramifications that you've seen?
you become, I think, a really cynical, bitter
Yes.
person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or
Or
you
I
just,
think you feel paralyzed then
or-
that
yeah, I
you
was gonna say,
can't.
you just
You'll
give, you
never
just don't.
you give up because you'll never possibly solve all the problems or meet all the needs.
Or so you either become frozen. So when we become too compassionate, when we give and give and give and give and don't take care of self, this happened to me like a year ago. This happened to me where I went through a season where I was giving, and no Mother Teresa here. I'm not. I had plenty of downtime, so I don't want to try to make myself out to be a martyr here. But I gave emotionally for a very extended period of time, and I did very poor job of care calibration. So I gave care every chance I could. I got to a point where all of a sudden there was this sense of jadedness that I was very unfamiliar with. The things that broke my heart stopped breaking. And there was this overwhelming feeling of, like Jason, you said, cynicism and bitterness, where I was like,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden I went from caring for everyone to suddenly I don't want to care for anyone. And it was an ucky feeling. And when I started to feel like that, which was weird, it was very not me. I came to leadership and I came to the church and I was like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And I talked to a therapist actually about it, and it turns out that's when I found out about compassion fatigue. So I can attest from personal experience, you will burn. You're going to burn. You're going to burn out. It's going to happen. It totally happened to me. It took a long time for that tank to fill, and it did fill back up. It does fill back up, but it takes time, and it takes recognizing also the simple truth that I'm not the hero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the hero. Jesus is the hero. I don't need to save every person. I don't need to help every emotional broken thing. I don't have to care for every broken relationship. I can't, because I'm human. And sometimes I need to put the mask on myself before I put the mask on someone else.
Yeah, that's good. Someone reminded me recently of a quarterback on a football team has to wear the red jersey, and the red jersey means you can't touch them. Like, I'm going to participate. I'm going to be a part of this, but it's like I've got to also make sure that we're good to play the game. And so I'm talking about in practice, you wear the red jersey so you don't risk injuring yourself in what matters most. And I think sometimes it's like it's okay to put the red jersey on, take care of yourself, and you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to put yourself. I think we do kind of play the martyr role sometimes, and we we feel like it's up to us, and we're actually codependent on we need people instead of we desire them. And when you need them, you're just giving to keep them happy because your own sense of self is wrapped up in theirs. I mean, that's like, you got to think about all that stuff of why.
So what do you say? So Jason, we have a big audience here, and they're listening. Someone out there is in a codependent relationship where they're giving. Obviously, there's complications, so we can't give a blanket answer. I'm not looking for a blanket answer, but what do you say to the person that's not doing a good job of caring for themselves? Is there advice on where to begin? Where it's like they're giving for a spouse, and their spouse is a taker, and that spouse takes and takes and takes and takes. What do you say to that person to begin starting to care for self?
Oh man, I was going to say, if it's that level, you got to go talk to someone.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair.
I mean,
that's
fair.
If
it's really to that level, there's things fueling that it's not as easy to just go, so I won't, because the antithesis is, then I won't care. And
yeah,
that's not good either.
That's
so it's
it.
like, those are two far extremes. One is like a total apathy. The other is a codependency. Those are both extremes,
And I think that self-care is a learned behavior if you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just like, to your point, it's like if you're going and asking or talking to someone about it, it might be you've reached a point where like, I don't know how to fix it myself.
Yeah.
And that's what you just expressed even with like the season that you walked through. Like you didn't necessarily know how to get out of it. You just knew you needed someone to help you with it. And so I think like even that behavior of like pouring out, resting and refueling, I think that's a learned behavior that I don't know that always comes naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So you might just also need someone to help you learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And watch for the cues. Everybody has cues for where, I think we all have cues that are indicator lights to like, I'm on the edge here.
Mm.
And so I think in ministry, one of them, or, for church people, is like you roll your eyes when you see this person coming towards you because you're like, here we go. That's like that. It means you're probably empty. Tank's probably empty.
Flashing yellow light warning.
Yeah, where did that come from? Numbing out when you're home. You don't really want to think about anything that would take emotional or expend emotional energy.
Yeah.
I mean, those are just little, like, what are those? Just pay attention to those warning signs that you may be giving without pouring back in or getting poured back into.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The what do you say to the person that's emotionally just, the fatigue they're finding is just from the emotional worry, like the mom that's just worried about her son and won't relinquish that fear and that worry, or for the other family member or a friend, or like the care is that worry and that dread for that person.
A lot of that, like you can start to feel all the weight of that, which is I think what even you were talking about, that then if you don't know how to take the weight back off, or then that's where you can find yourself in that compassion fatigue. A friend of mine recently told me, we were talking kind of just even about our kids, and it's like, oh man, but don't you worry about this, or what if this happens, and she just stopped, and she stopped me and she said, like, you are responsible for stewarding them well. God loves them more than you, and you have to trust that he will take like your stewarding and bless it and continue to be in that relationship with your child and continue to give you the steps to take to move forward. But ultimately, like, God loves them way more than you can ever fathom, which, I mean, that's really hard to think about as a parent, right?
Yeah.
So then you also just think, whether it's more globally or in your neighborhood or meeting the needs of those around you, like, you can do whatever you can at the capacity that you can do it. But like, God can still do infinitely more than that.
Yeah.
And so then also just trusting that as you're meeting needs, or you're stepping into that posture, or you're following the nudge of the Holy Spirit, like the Spirit and like God is right there too, bless those needs or to care for those folks or to make a difference in ways that like we can't even fathom because he loves those people or those things way more than we do, even if we think there's justice or injustice that's occurring or whatever. Like God sees that too. And so how do we not forget like that we don't have to solve all of those things?
That's good.
That he loves all of those things way more than we could even imagine.
So what is the Christian response to the injustice in this world, guys? So what is the Christian response to the stuff that's happening all over the world? What are we supposed to do? What can Christians do all over the world? What is our call to action for the injustices that are happening all over the world?
Pray for justice. Pray for justice that God's justice would, well, here's a way of saying it. Pray what Jesus told us to pray, which is, God, your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. So that's the first place to start. Pray.
I'm shocked. Like prayer. Like,
yeah. Pray for God's kingdom.
What about the people that are like, prayer is a platitude, Jason?
Okay.
No, but I mean, I'm serious. Like,
well, I didn't say stop there. I said start there.
But I think it's good to talk about the weight of prayer.
Well, yeah. I mean, we ought to seek justice. We ought to seek God to pour out. We ought to desire and long for God to pour out justice on this world. My heart breaks, man, when I see there's certain things I watch on the news. There are stories that I will hear on the news, and I can barely contain myself, the anger I feel when children are hurt or whatever. Like I have rage.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad. I think I'm actually tapping in that moment. I'm feeling God's just wrath at sin and what it does in this world.
Yes. Wow.
So I take that to God and I scream. Read the Psalms. The Psalms if you're struggling with the injustice thing too, like go to the Psalms. Sometimes they will give you voice for what to pray because they pray, God, would your justice come into this world? Would you make right what has been wrong? God, would you lift up the poor and oppressed? God, would you strike down those who are using their power to keep those, to oppress those? That's all in the Bible. Like these are because it expresses, like it gets it out. And that's a good thing.
That's awesome.
Then you go to Jesus' obviously the prayer, and he says, "May your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven." That's a just kingdom. Wow. So I'd start there, and then go, and God, how do you have for me? What unique role can I play in that today? And it's going to be 1,000 small little things, or probably not even 1,000. It's probably be 3 small little things.
Awesome.
It'll be a moment to simply. You see someone at school, you see someone at your university who was obviously something was said about them. I don't even know, like, whatever. And you go and you say an encouraging word. You just you brought, again, where something was off, you tried to bring restoration. It might mean that there's 1,000 ways they could look. It's going to be, and I'm probably more getting back to the serving piece on that.
Oh, that's great.
But it's going to be you going, God, here I am. My hands are open today. Show me where needs meet my capacity and just make me open to it.
Because the enemy isn't necessarily always the same face, but it's cruelty. It's injustice. And you may not be able to answer the call for that injustice, but you can answer the call for this one. And I like that you just opening your eyes to the injustice right around you or the needs right around you. The care right around you.
Well, I would say just go back. You know what? It may be the simplest way. I like thinking about things real simply. And I would just go back. So it's like, pray for God's justice to come, right? And that this would be a more just world and that he would allow you the opportunity today to make that a reality. Your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. And then go back to Mark 10, which we started this whole conversation with, and just say, God, just show me opportunities. Please make my eyes open today to where there might be opportunities for me to lower myself to lift someone up. Mm-hmm. That's it. It'll probably be 1 time, 2 times. Lower myself to lift someone up. Opening a door. Yeah. Helping someone to their call. I don't even know.
And don't discredit really small things. Like I think the threshold to be able to meet needs today is just so low
Yeah.
that it might be just the encouraging word. It might be the smiling face. It might be holding the door for someone where just in that moment, that person's like, oh, they put me before them, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
and so sometimes I also think we wait for these really ginormous
Mm.
things to be able to do, but it's just like a bunch of small moments over time.
Yeah.
And
that goes back to Joanna, what you said at the very beginning with Jesus. He just kept doing it. He just lifted that person up.
Yeah.
He just spoke a word over that person. He just,
he was
just did it.
intentional, and it was intentional.
Jason, Eugene Peterson is the guy that transcribed the Message Bible.
Mhm.
And you and I went to see him one time. He was in New York City. He was a little old man.
Yes.
And
He was. He's passed now, but man, he was a good man.
Yeah. And I remember him saying that everyone wants to be the guy that starts Tom's shoes, but not everyone wants to be the pastor of the guy that starts Tom's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what he equated there was everyone wants to be a part of the big movement and the big initiative, but not everyone wants to do the small things.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of this story. I think I'll transition us with this story to the end here. Is I remember my neighbor Lee. It was this older gentleman. When I met Lee, he was probably about 76 at the time, 77. And he was retired, and he lived with his brother in this house across the road. So Lee, my daughter had just been born, and she was just an infant. And at that time in my house, my yard had grown quite what we'll call woolly. It was a jungle. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a scene out of Avatar. And then I have Lee walks across the road, this 76-year-old man, and it says, Chad, I noticed your yard is getting long. I was like, and I thought this was going to be one of those grumpy people that are like, I just took a measuring stick to your yard. But I said, yeah, it's getting kind of long. And then he says, can I mow it for you? And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Feel like a terrible human being. I'll mow it eventually here as my daughter's crying. And he's like, no. Can I mow it for you? And I said, if you would be willing to mow it today, that would be great. And he goes, no, he's like, you're confused. He said, I asked if I could mow your lawn for you. He's like, not today, every day. And that started 10 years of Lee mowing my lawn every single week, twice a week sometimes. And don't get me wrong, everyone's calculating his age, and I asked many times to take it from him, but he's like, this is what I love to do. And he started mowing everyone's lawn in the neighborhood. And he said, I do it because I love Jesus. And it was mowing a lawn. It's like, that's not ending the war in Ukraine. It's not stopping injustice in the streets of our cities. It's mowing a lawn. He changed my life. That little old man changed my life. He's since passed, but yet he has left an unwavering mark on my life. And he's taught me more about this topic of compassion and serving by mowing a lawn. And so my question is, who, maybe someone in your life, so maybe just give it a quick thought, who's someone or what's some act of compassion that you saw that was a small thing that meant a big thing to you? And then how do we recommend other people to do the same so that we may not be,
I got one.
Yeah,
it was you 2 days ago.
What?
It really was. What people probably don't know is we were supposed to record these yesterday, I think, or one of these yesterday. And my voice was gone after the weekend. And I mean, it was gone. And so I was like, I don't think I'm going to be, this was on Monday. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to record.
I know you're going to say.
And you showed up at my office on Monday in the morning with tea and honey and just said, hey, hope this helps your voice in some way, shape, or form. And that might not seem like much, but what that told me was, or what it on the other side of that is someone heard, someone listened, and someone used what little resources. It wasn't a big thing. It was just like, oh, well, I heard you. And yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff sticks with you. And it also motivates me to love and good works. I then go, who can I do that for today? Who can it's just, it's inspiring when you get stuff like that. Cause then you're like, oh, that's easy. Who am I just need to be thoughtful for?
It's not about changing the world. It's changing that person's world today.
Yeah, I have one that actually came pretty easy when you asked that question. So, I don't know, maybe it's been 10 or 11 years since we lost my grandmother. And yeah, Lovejoy. She was an amazing woman. We went to her funeral. I remember then having to like kind of clean out her apartment. So she lived in Iowa. So it was like kind of a trek. We like kind of needed to take care of a lot of affairs kind of like while we were out there. Right. So we're like going through all of her things, kind of starting even to divvy out like between my mom and her sister. And we find this stack of books, and each book is on like super random topics, like super random, that we're like, what was Nana like? Why was she reading all of these things? And in every book was someone's name. And it was like, hey, I'm reading this book to understand more about so-and-so.
Oh, wow.
And so some of them were like different religion, like different religious backgrounds, just various topics. And like you'd see the notes like in the front, like in the thing. And it was like, hey, need to talk to so-and-so about this, or curious how they think about that.
Wow.
And it was
cool.
like, my gosh, like, yeah. And it was, no one knew that. Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like she did that just because she felt, hey, that's how I can relate better to the people around me.
And even something as reading is one of the most selfish activities we do. We often read just for self. Like it's one of the things that it's okay to be selfish with. And yet she was even selfless in that moment where I'm not reading the book I want to read. She probably didn't want to read about woodworking, but there was someone that she wanted to have a conversation with, and she knew that was the best way.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That's really cool. See,
she was a cool lady.
What was her name?
Lovejoy.
Lovejoy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep,
Wait, Lovejoy?
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Lovejoy. That's Junia's middle name.
Oh, is it really?
Mm-hmm. And actually, my grandmother didn't have a middle name. It was just Lovejoy.
Oh.
One word, one name.
That's amazing. So it's before compassion fatigue sets in and all of these, and before you become overwhelmed with the needs of this world, it's about changing the world one person at a time, and maybe not even their entire world, but their day, and showing compassion, and then sure as I'm living and breathing, praying and talking to God about the global things that are there, and changing what we can and when we can. So thank you so much for listening to the Live Change podcast. We appreciate you. We appreciate you subscribing. We're going to be here every other Wednesday talking about the subjects that really matter and that really affect you. As always, the stuff we're talking about here, someone in your life needs to hear it. Make sure you share it with them.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to follow the show, send today's episode to a friend, and leave a review. The Live Changed podcast is produced by LCBC Church. LCBC stands for Lives Changed by Christ. We are one church in multiple locations across Pennsylvania. For more information about LCBC, resources from this episode, and ways to grow in your relationship with Jesus, go to lcbcchurch.com.